The way we do so is by working on the energy field that is organizing it. Fields are one of the underlying conditions that make it possible to transform the whole system through a single nodal intervention. And that to me just feels like a really cool definition of field, and was one of the reasons that inspired me as I was working on Limicon. So as we invite you here today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the main goals of Limicon. There's 3 of them that we kind of laid out. So one is, and this is as I find this community and start feeling less lonely in this space, it's really important to build relationships. And so one of the things that we're here in this space for the next month to do is just build relationships with each other. And if that's the only thing that happens in Limicon is somebody finds a new relationship, then it's all perfect. It's all perfect anyway, but we're really hoping for relationships. And part of that is safety. So as the mother of Limicon, I want you all to feel safe and, you know, hosted and welcome in this space. And so we're doing our best to kind of make that happen behind the scenes, but we'd also appreciate any offerings that people in the space have, or any information. You know, let us know if there's something that we can be doing to help improve your experience, and we'll do our best to do it. Another part is the field building, to help the field see itself. I am really, when a year ago when Narayan gave me a presentation about the network map, I got so excited about it, and I see the possibilities that social system mapping has to offer. And I think that having the field see itself will be very, it'll just be good. I don't know why it is yet, but I feel like it's important. And then finally, we really want to create some practical effects in the real world. So there's a lot of like criticism against, you know, oh, well, we don't just want to have conversations all the time, right? We want to do something with that information, with that knowledge. And so we're going to be incorporating ways to take the relationships and the lessons and the learning that you've seen here and move it forward and carry that energy on throughout the year. And then this wasn't on my list, but people who I respect and honor in my life keep telling me that I need to have more fun. And so Limicon, we also really want it to be fun. And so as I pass over to Phil, I'm going to put my unicorn horn on just to make sure that I am appropriately having fun. And yeah, Phil's going to tell us more about the process of Limicon, the design.
Wait, hold up. I want to put my unicorn hat on. I'll be a little piggy for a little while. I'm not sure. Where do you find
Phil
unicorn?
likes to dress up.
All right, hey guys. Let me see. All right, let me turn this off. Yeah, I'm excited to be here, guys. I want to first, oh, I don't want the spotlight just yet. I want to just like look in this room, like, oh my gosh, there's people from around the world. There's a diversity of people. And that both is like a huge opportunity and a potential challenge as well. And it's up to us to figure out how we want to deal with that. So yeah, I think maybe just to start, just send a lot of appreciation. Maybe I want to give you guys all a hug for a little while. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, I'll take the spotlight now. Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the design of Limicon, and kind of like some of the process that we kind of as an organizing group did to actually create Limicon. And before I do that, maybe I'd talk a little bit about, just quickly about like, yeah, how I actually came into this role. I actually remember Layman, I was just having a chat with him at Constructing Consciousness last September. And I was like, I think it's time for us to gather like the liminal web. I feel like it's at that point where there's enough people and there's enough energy that we can actually get hundreds of people together and really feel into what wants to emerge. And he's like, you should talk to Danielle. She's been planning this thing called Limicon. And I just sent her an email, and as so happens, we had some great conversations. And there's really three things that I probably have done. First thing was just be like, I think Ryan really needs to be here, both to support Danielle in her sourceship, but also do all this cool, fun network mapping stuff that we are super interested in. The second was there was a whole bunch of people talking to Danielle about Limicon should be this, Limicon should be that. And it was kind of like, oh, I see there's a lot of tension in terms of like what it wants to be. And so the second thing was just to get everybody into one room and try and get them to cohere around what is Limicon. And so the third thing was run different processes. One that I really love called the ephemeral group process, and some other sessions to really understand the group considerations and really get on the same page. So the ephemeral group process is a process that just basically asks deeper questions. So let's say we started off with, what is Limicon? What do we want Limicon to be? Who do we want Limicon to attract? And from there, we had actual deeper questions that we came up with that I want to share with you as kind of showing what is the design that we actually thought about when we were trying to build Limicon. So it could be, what is the role of Limicon playing the larger ecosystem? But also like, what is the vibe? What is the vibe that we want? What are the qualities of the people that we want to actually be embodied at Limicon? How do we welcome and bring in all these people on the edges to be part of Limicon? How do we create a safe space which really allows people to be their true authentic selves? How do we create the conditions so that the participants can really feel like they can co-create Limicon? And how do we liberate their self organization? Enable a playground that feels okay for people to make mistakes, try new things. And then finally, how do we make it such that everybody feels like they can be a co-organizer of Limicon? And so these are some of the sets of questions that we held. And you'll start to see as Narayan and Lauren talk later about some of the answers that we've come up with. And obviously, this is just our best attempt in terms of answering some of these questions. But we hope that you appreciate some of the thinking in terms of like how we try to actually design this space for you all. So that's the end of my little spiel. I will pass it over to Narayan to talk a little bit about the next phase.
Right. I have had the hardest time describing what Limicon is to people. I'm seeing Michael Wilson just smiling right now because I've been wanting to invite him for like months and then invited him like on Sunday and still sort of like stumbled over my words trying to describe it because there's actually just so much going on and there's so much nebulosity. I'm like, am I inviting him to be a participant or do I want him to be a co-organizer with me? What even is this thing? Why does it look so messy? It seems like this whole thing is just like constantly under construction. And so it's never like, oh, it's done enough to invite somebody into this. And still like over 200 people are like, yeah, that looks unfinished, but I want to help you build that too. So there's elements here. I'm just going to talk to some of the elements and you can make what you will out of this. There's no wrong way to do Limicon. And I have a dream that y'all will like break Limicon and something more beautiful will come out of this. We're creating a couple of rough structures and you can create new ones. There's fewer rules than you think. That's written here on the bottom. So if that sounds like too much, you can start on the left side of this as just a participant, treating this like a normal con. Like it's not a conference. It's not like one of those like industry conventions. It's more like a Comic-Con. So you can dress up, you can be silly. The people throwing this are not famous. We're just people who love this stuff. So you can talk to us like we're normal people. We've got email addresses, but you can just attend sessions. You can join the Google Maps or the Google Calendar. You can go on Limicon. There's a schedule there. The password is co-create 2024. Like, just come join the sessions. That's all you need to do. If that's all you're here for, that's awesome, because you will be contributing just by participating. If you want to do a little bit more, maybe you're sensing there's more possibilities here, I would invite you to sense, make, and weave. Notice what you're talking about in each of these sessions, and maybe stick around for the debriefs afterwards. I heard there might even be a debrief of this opening ceremony. And we might be taking some of these debriefs and these recordings and pulling out these gold nuggets or quotes or things that are really sticking with us and putting those into the Miro. What they do in the Miro, where they go, that's kind of up to you. That's part of the chaos. You can kind of homestead the Miro, like claim a part of the territory and say, this, I'm going to write about this, or I'm going to do poetry about what's happening in Limicon, and this is my section. You can go ahead and claim a space. You don't have to ask permission for that. Or maybe you want to host an event. There's a form. You can fill out the form and host an event. I have a little bit more to say on that in a bit. And then there's some even more complex things, which moves even more into stewardship. I'm already aware of several different crews, like small clusters of people who are acting like a team. And these crews are not the organizers. These crews are other fans who are like, I see a possibility within this space. I want to do something. Like, in example, I know there's a crew called the Present of Work. And they noticed that in the network map, there was a selected icon that says, I'm interested in the future of work. And so they now see that there's a whole bunch of people interested in this topic called the future of work. And so this group says, okay, well, why don't we have a mixer? So there's a mixer on Friday. I think it's at 4:30 p.m. for anyone interested in the future of work. That's going to be hosted by this crew that's going to feel committed to doing some of the sense making around that inquiry. Is someone going to do that around like permaculture or regenerative finance or Web3 or whatever other topics people are in? I'm not sure, but there's a lot of us here. And so maybe you want to form some sort of crew and play an even more complex role that makes you feel even more like an organizer. Now, of course, there's actually way too much going on within Limicon. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to skip this, how to host at Limicon. This is all in the Miro, so you can check it out or take a screenshot now. But there's too much happening, and I literally cannot describe all of it that's going to happen right now. There's so many possibilities. These things are popping up. The organizing team is not even making all of these things. Like, an example, there's an open offers board on the Miro where somebody is offering to do coaching for people. Somebody else is offering to hold 15-minute conversations to inquire into what's going on in between sessions. So if you have an open offer, you could use this board. Someone just created that. Lauren, I might tag you in to talk about some of these other pieces, and then I'll come back to the map.
Sounds good. Hi, everybody. So yes,
Everybody.
my daughter's with us. So we have a lot going on at
And
Limicon.
I see everyone.
Yes, you see everyone. So we have the co-creation session. So Limicon is a co-creation event. We have hosts for sessions. There will be different styles of sessions, speakers, more discussion-based, participatory. Sorry. Hyper time.
I'm going
There is still time to sign up to host a session. There is no expiration date on that. So anybody can host a session. I'm sorry. Can someone take over for a second? I have to get her out here first.
Yeah, I'm in. Tagged in. So co-creation sessions, we have the organizing team is offering to meet up. I think we're meeting every Wednesday at around this time and probably every Friday morning Eastern time. So if you're like, I want help with something, you can come join one of those sessions. There is a discussion group on the Limicon website that a lot of people are posting in. Somebody put a large sticky note in the Miro that says, I want a Telegram group. I'm not going to make a Telegram group, but if somebody wants to make a Telegram group and invite people, you don't need to ask permission, just make one. Limicon funding. I think we're taking about half of the ticket sales and actually just putting that as a pool of money in the middle to be distributed to fund projects and good work that we see that is coming out of Limicon. We currently don't have anybody looking after that process. So if somebody knows something about how to distribute money or democracy or governance, I know I can find you on the network map, but I'd love for someone to help out with that. And there's also a welcome letter. So maybe I won't get into everything here, but I'll just sort of point, as you signed up, you should have gotten an email that had a link to a welcome letter. This should give you everything you need to know. It's got processes. Yeah, you can add Limicon to your Google Calendar. It's going to be wonderful. And now maybe before I bring us into our final breakout group, I will talk a little bit about the map because I'm an unabashed mapping nerd. So for everybody who's joined, you should have gotten an email, unless you signed up in the last like 3 hours or something. And it says, hey, so-and-so join the Limicon network map. And you click this little link and it'll take you in and it'll ask you to make a little bio. You can complete a little survey that tells us what you're interested in, that kind of thing. Map your connections. Who else at Limicon do you know? You can say whether you know them a little bit or if you really know them, like they're like an intimate friend or a really high trust collaborator. And then finally, all that information goes into this network map. And this is a unique thing, a unique feature of organizing at Limicon. So it helps people to understand like what might I do a session on, or how do I find other people here, knowing that we're all virtual. So this is Kumu, a great mapping software, and it visualizes all of the different connections. And with these connections, I've got just a couple of features down here at the bottom. One, you can filter by connection strength. So if all I wanted to do was look at the high trust connections, I can click down here and suddenly the network map looks a little bit different. This is the shape of our network coming into Limicon. And I wonder, because we can continue to update these connections, how our network might look different after Limicon. I've also got the areas of interest here at the bottom. So these are some of the main themes that I sense are big in the in this liminal web space. And if you select one of those, you can kind of see the network of people that have said that they're interested in that. So this one, development and growth, seems like a ton of people are into that. What about governance and institutions? Maybe someone wants to like run that funding thing. This network looks a little bit more spread out. So definitely a possibility for leadership to come in and speak to this. So I'm gonna pause here on the network map. I would love, maybe Phil, if you can give us a 10-minute breakout room with like 3 or 4 people in it, just to talk about what are some of the potentials that this unique configuration of whomever is in your breakout room, what unique possibilities do you sense for this network and for yourselves in Limicon?
Alrighty. Yeah, I've created that for you guys.
Do we want to join any of the rooms?
Sorry, I need to move some people around, but you're technically in room 17
Yeah.
if you wanted to go.